Hey guys, Lucy here. I said I'd be back and I'm back. This time, unfortunately, it is not with DTM. Everybody make sure you send hate and no love towards DTM. He did sleep in and he's not answering. So I'm returned. This was planned. I am supposed to cast, but DTM, make sure you guys spread hate, add him in the server, make sure he knows that what he did was wrong, right? Outside of that, I'm going to be casting today. I think it might be alone unless DTM wakes up. Maybe somebody joins me later, but you're stuck with just me. We are, however, the two teams that I'm casting for today are going to be CNC versus GSL. They have sort of the map picks and band picks. So CNC has banned Arms Factory, and GSL has picked Red Church. This does make a lot of sense, the Red Church pick, considering GSL does have Sage, which is a very, very well-known BQ and Opera main. So it's, this map pick makes sense for specifically the Hunter side of GSL for, them enabling Oh, yeah, my bad. But sorry, I'm focused on yapping. But yeah, the map itself is really good and good for enabling Sage to open up that win potential. That map that is a small map, both really good for BQ and Opera. So and those are Sage's two probably arguably, I mean, best hunters as far as I'm concerned, at least. So if round one, if it's going to be some sort of win potential from the GSL Hunter side, it's going to be that map. I don't know too much about CNCE, unfortunately. But I do look forward to the matchup, and I do look forward to learning more about them as this matchup goes. I think there's another week. Correct me if I'm wrong, Woolsey. So we're gonna see a lot more of them, I assume. And then if they make the bracketed stage, the playoffs rather, then we'll see them there as well. So we're going to get into the picks and bans here. We are seeing the seer and the cheerleader ban. Doesn't make a lot of sense for both Opera and BQ. They do have really similar bands. Cheerleader is really annoying for especially BQ. The moment you mirror, the moment your mirror pops, you double cheer out, or at least you single cheer out, and then it's ridiculous. It's kind of annoying to chase a cheerleader. Plus the potential of the cheer and pick back up is a little annoying. So I understand the bans there. Seer as well. We're gonna see CNCE picking journalist, which is a little bit of an awkward pick. We don't really see too much of journalist being picked. But she is a good rescue. The only issue is if she brings tide, she's kind of a weak chase. And then Acrobat as well. Acrobat has been probably arguably the best individual kiter for multiple seasons now. Moving on, we are going to see the Perfumer ban as well. Again, feeding into the fact that Femdrake does play a lot of single hit hunters. Perfumer, is a super good tank, can make kites last probably longer than they should. And we are going to see the last ban being Priestess. And the last two picks are going to be Fire Investigator and... Fire Investigator, by the way, has been a lot of people thought he was going to be bad on release, but he's actually been pretty good as of recent. So I'm excited to see what they do with him, especially on a map such as this. We're going to see the Weeping Clown is a little weird, admittedly so. I don't think Weeping Clown, he did get a buff recently, if I remember right, but he I don't think this buff impacted him enough to make him a pick above quite a few other characters they could have picked there. But he is actually pretty good on Church, despite what most people may think, because his rocket, slowdown, and stun does go through a lot of the walls. So if you stand up against a lot of the walls in Graveyard and God Palette and Backgate, you can actually stun from the opposite side of the wall, so it is kind of cheesy. Maybe they got something like that planned, but I'm excited to see how well this comp plays together, because again, Acrobat's such a strong individual kiter. Fire Investigator does really well against both Opera, and I'd imagine it does pretty well against BQ as well. You throw the ball down, you wait for the mirror to go, you drop the ball, you quote unquote elbow pad, or you boost away, and it's the same thing as elbow padding or cheering away from a mirror. So I would imagine it's going to be relatively okay. And Weeping Clown is going to be, I think, better. Well, not I think. Weeping Clown is definitely going to be better if Sage does pick a Opera here. Rather a BQ here. Yeah. Without Weeping Clown is a little better because I don't know if you guys know this, but specifically with Opera, she is actually significantly faster than Weeping Clown. So he doesn't get any distance off of his rocket, which is pretty much what he relies on. But now that it's a BQ, this Weeping Clown might do a little better. We are going to see the Weeping Clown and the Journalist be the two tied. We are going to see Fire Investigator with Windows and Acrobat with Windows. I think this is a little. This is actually really good for the side of GSL's Hunter because there's no flywheels for these mirrors. I definitely think they were playing heavily into the fact that this is going to be an opera. And unfortunately for them, it is not an opera. So the mind game on the traits and personas definitely won on the side of GSL. So that really puts Sage in a very good spot off rip because again, they're gonna have to rely and they're gonna have to burn a lot of materials on their kit itself in order to kite these mirrors out. Either that or maybe they get really good with positioning and cutting the line of sight and maybe Sage misses a mirror too, but we haven't seen a lot of Sage missing mirrors outright so far this tournament. So it is. I'm excited for this comp. This comp isn't bad against BQ. I think Journalist is a really weak chase here, so we might see the Journalist get chased here. So we are gonna be. This is a pretty average spawn here. We do see a lot of the Tetris block spawns, and then the Hunter either spawns bottom right or mid left. When you spawn bottom right, by the way, if you guys don't know this, the reception spawn, actually gets pushed to the front of reception and then out towards mid broken. So that spawn becomes a lot better because you're not stuck spawning inside of reception. It's a horrible area to spawn. Alrighty, again, I am Lucifer. I'm going to be casting the matchup between CNCE and GSL. This is round one. GSL's Hunter and CNCE Survivors. We are seeing Femdrake walk kind of towards the middle. I would imagine they're kind of trying to chase this Weeping Clown out here. I think the Journalist is a really weak chase here. So I wouldn't imagine that they would be too scared of chasing the Zinna. It does look like they're looking heavily for. It does look like a little bit of lag, so I'm not shocked by the pause. But it does look like they're looking for the Weeping Clown here. So if the BQ can actually force a rocket out prior to the mirror, I think this chase is going to be pretty okay. But oh, excuse me, this is a Fire Investigator, not the Weeping Clown. My apologies. I'm yapping and chatting without actually knowing what's going on. My apologies. We are going to see a little bit of a restart. They are using a very hefty skin, so we are going to see a restart. They're going to change their skin, and we'll see them load back into here. I think they're out of the house, so they are playing with data, I believe, or Wi-Fi out. So the skin is a little too taxing. She's a little too good looking. We gotta check that. Again, and load it back in here. And I will say that if Sage is intending on chasing specifically the the Fire Investigator, I don't know why I couldn't think of the name. Then the kite is actually going to be, in my opinion, I think a little better for Sage, because the timing that you have to like actually hit in order to drop the ball and bounce off the ball before the mirror hits you, the mirror would have to not be on you in order to in order to actually get that ball timing off in time. But assuming somebody like as good as Sage, then we we wouldn't see that like that much of a missed mirror in order to allow that time. So you'd have to kind of play around the fact that kind of not predicting, but throwing the ball as the mirror happens instead of reacting off the mirror. But so depending on how patient and how smart this Fire Investigator is with the utilization of their balls, then that will kind of heavily affect the way that this kite goes. Because again, we've looked at we've looked at a lot of personas, all of the personas rather, and none of them have flywheels. So they, again, like I was talking about before, this puts Sage in such a good spot because they have no fallback for kiting out these mirrors. So you're either gonna have to rely on Sage missing mirrors, or you're gonna have to burn a lot of your character kit in order to kite these mirrors out. And not just Sage specifically, but a lot of the BQs that have been playing BQ for so long and at a high tier, very rarely do they miss that many mirrors, that it affects the game as heavily when the flywheel isn't a factor. Um, Flywheel made BQ and Wheel a lot worse since its release. So the fact that they are full committing to this Opera and Sage ends up bringing out the BQ, in my opinion, that does open a little bit of win potential for the BQ. But again, the survivors, they just need a good enough team, well, a good enough kite rather, that they put themselves in a position to basically die, get blink out, get a mirror out, get blink out, rescue with Tide. They run away, they get a mirror out, you down again. But as long as they're dying away from ciphers, Sage should realistically be locked to a draw here because BQ doesn't have anything to assist them in like one-on-one chase. So anything after like the first mirror, it's going to be pretty difficult. So as long as these survivors force a mirror and then a blink and then nothing but mirrors, it should still be a heavy draw lock. That's kind of what makes her such a draw locked character. She has nothing to assist herself outside of like those direct chase mirrors. So as long as these survivors are not giving up free hits, then it should be relatively easy to lock Sage in a draw here. Oh, my bad. The game started. I'm just yapping. I'm sorry. We're going to see the Acrobat already taking a hit here. By the way, the cover screen is not taken away. We'll see. There we go. Yeah, my bad, guys. Our bad. We got a little distracted because of the restart, and I was just yapping and chatting. We're going to see Acrobat already kiting here. The mirror is going to be kited out. Really good job there, but unfortunately, again, Acrobat did take and the blink is missed. The hit under the pallet is missed. We're going to see a ball from Fire Investigator here, maybe allowing that Acrobat to rotate here. The only issue is like you really need to maximize your kite time. Well, your go time rather. The ball is going to be wasted. The Acrobat did not change his route to accompany the ball. The mirror is going to be up. So unless this Acrobat can actually ball the mirror out, we are going to see a down here. Maybe we see that happen. No, the Acrobat is going to get the down. But again, in my opinion, I think that's a long enough kite. We are going to see 3 ciphers roughly about to be popped here. Dust is the one rescuing, and his cipher was already popped. So 2 ciphers are going to be popped here soon, pretty much following soon after this chair. Justice is going to be, I think, leaving and allowing Dust to pick that cipher up after the rescue. Justice starting one of their last 2 ciphers. And this puts them in a really, really good position here. A really great position. I don't know if I agree with the mirror to try to cut the Weeping Clown off here. I think it'd be better to save this mirror for directly off of chair because you're not going to be getting much out of it besides what you would have gotten out of it without the mirror. So this does put Sage in a little bit of an awkward position here. Acrobat making this, that was a little too close to a battle zone for my liking. But Acrobat still surviving here. Tide is going to be out here in just a few seconds. Acrobat still having both windows and the pallet boost and a ball up. It should kite this mirror out. Maybe, possibly, depending on how this goes. It should be a hit here. And a stun. Unfortunate. I think that needs to come out a little sooner, and you need to stun as they're vaulting, and that would have been really great here. But we are going to see a slight bit of miscommunication and mistiming. Dust resetting the Hunter. They do have all 3 of their ciphers, but again, this blink is going to be back up in 40 seconds. Your rescue is not going to happen for another 20. So this is what makes her so good at drawing, is because she's so good in chase, both of that blink and the mirrors up. It's really difficult to consistently kite her for longer than draw time. We're going to see Sage trying to harass these ciphers. Justice doing middle. Dust rotating over to pick up that back gate cipher that Zinna was on. And Zinna presumably going to rescue here and then push this cipher. We're going to look at a double down actually here. Oh, the body block going through. Amazing job from Zinna. That might have just saved the game, because if Zinna goes down there, that results in a double down, and this cipher over here couldn't be popped. That might give Sage enough time to to open up some draw potential here. But unfortunately, again, you know, Zen is having to leave that area because Acrobat kited towards that cipher before heading up there. So we are just going to see Sage close this distance and mirror this Acrobat. Acrobat does have another ball, but whether or not Sage hits this mirror could mean win potential for either team here, or draw potential rather. We are going to see him kite out, and again, there are 2 ciphers left. We are going to see Justice coming in here for the support. Acrobat doesn't have any more balls. He does make this window, maybe with Blink. It is going to be a terror strike. This should result in a draw. Dust does have one more rocket. Maybe we can buy enough time, possibly for the cipher to be primed. The cipher is primed. We're going to see a heal stall. This is going to be a 4-person alive endgame. Cypher is going to pop here. Great job from the Survivor team. Amazing job with the Fire Investigator buying time. Justice is going to be a relatively quick down here. I don't know if I agree with the mirror change. I think if they just walked around the wall, it would have been fine. I think you want to just chase him down. He has no more balls left, and then you use Mirror for gate, but it's just not looking good. This kite, and Mirror does run out. Sage does have to go and pressure the gate here at Dust, but again, this gate is so close to being opened, it might be open before they get there. Oh, it's close. It's open. It is open. Oh, with the stun, the Acrobat should have stayed on gate. The Acrobat doesn't have any more balls, and there is a mirror. They could have opened it. They could have had potential for a 4-man here. Amazing stun from Dust and forcing the gate open. We're going to see Acrobat dead here. Dust is in the gate as well as the other 2 in the gate, the opposing gate. So we are going to see a 3-man end game here. Amazing job from the Acrobat and the support, you know, forcing mirrors when, you know, Sage making a few mistakes, not really mirroring when they really shouldn't have mirrored. Acrobat forcing mirrors out with these balls. You really don't want to chase Acrobat as your first chase as Acrobat, as BQ. That's the kind of stuff, you know, Acrobat is the only character in there that has like consistent possibility of kiting your mirrors out. Well, has a possibility of kiting your mirrors out consistently. So it is a little bit rough that Sage did end up chasing that Acrobat first, but Acrobat, great utilization of the balls, you know, kiting a good majority of those mirrors out, you know, Dust delaying the mirror on chair, she mirrors, you rocket, and then by the time that they get back on chair with the mirror, it's the regular basic hit as it normally would have been without the mirror, and then that mirror on chair allows Acrobat to actually rebound, as well as the miss blink, you know. Sage did start to bring it back, but unfortunately the Survivors did kite good enough for a draw position, and then their support and the ball from the Fire Investigator actually allowed time to prime that cipher and actually pushed them for a win. In a situation where, admittedly so, they were not in a winning position necessarily, especially since there was no flywheel on any of those Survivor personas. So, you know, that definitely should have been a little bit of a winning position. Well, a little bit of winning possibility for Sage, but unfortunately, falling short to the Acrobats, I mean, base kit qualities and the supporters. So unfortunately, yes, sorry. I'm reading chats and trying to keep up with things, but yes, unfortunately, you know, the Survivors the Acrobat doing a really great kite, followed by Survivors, the other Survivors really solid support, opening that up for a 3-1 round 1, and especially against a hunter like Sage so far this tournament that has been so consistent with at least securing a draw, if not more. So immediately shutting that down, shutting the draw down for a 3-1 beginning puts the hunter of CNC in a really good spot. You know, all you need at this point is a draw. You know, that changes the hunters that you're forced to play. You don't have to play an opera. You don't have to play a high risk winning hunter. You know, a Bonbon, a BQ, especially on a map like such a small map like this, BQ, Bonbon, and Gamekeeper. You know, you have a lot of we see up, down, blink, night watch as well on a map like this in Arms Factory for draws. You know, this opens up the possibilities of what you can realistically play and what's safe to play. Because at this point, you don't need to you don't need too much. You just need a draw, right? And then the CNCE leaves this round 1 with a win. Comparatively so, you know, if they do have a really good Ivy or an Opera, you know, do you push for a win? You know, do you push for a very commanding start here? Especially when you're in such a far, your Survivors have created you such a cushion that you can possibly push for more if that's something that you realistically want. And I think they're in a position to do either or, depending on how aggressive their hunter wants to play this. But I think, if they do open this up with a 3-man on their hunter side, on their survivor side rather, and then maybe a draw or a 3-man on their whatchamacallit side, their hunter side, that puts them in a very, very commanding lead heading into round two. At that point, you only need to draw the last 2 rounds. So I'm excited to see the way they kind of take this, whether or not they treat it like a cushion to push for more, or whether or not they treat it like the heavy lifting has been done, and now their hunter's going to go out and get enough and be okay with it. So pretty excited to see this round one. I think the first half of round one was pretty exciting. We did see, lots of good plays, like the acrobat kiting 2 mirrors out with the acrobat ball. We did see, unfortunately, the missed time on the first ball for the fire investigator, where it got broken and didn't used, and then unfortunately the miscommunication with when the rocket needed to happen. But great communication coming from the fire investigator, blocking that BQ off, actually from behind them. I don't know if you guys understood that, but the fire investigator was actually chasing Sage and the acrobat, trying to catch back up, and the fire investigator actually shot the ball up and over Sage from behind them to block that area off, allowing them enough time to get that Cypher Prime and allow for the Weeping Clown the time to get over there to self-heal. So lots of good support coming from the survivor side here, and especially like the potential at what that support could have been if it was just communicated and timed a little better. So I'm excited to see what they do from these further runs on, and I'm excited to see how Sage adjusts from this rough start here in the beginning. Do they try to bounce back and be more aggressive round two? Do they play a little safe and wait for the survivors to push for more? And if you're GSL, do you flip the switch on the survivor side and go, okay, we need to damage control, we can't afford to push for too much? Do we draw here and accept being down by points by a little bit and then push for more later on? Or what's the play here? So pretty excited to see what they go here. We are going to see the first 2 bans on the side of CNCE being both Coordinator and Priestess, relatively normal bans for the meta right now. Coordinator being really, really like very, very easy to kind of support, and very low risk as long as you're not shooting walls when it comes to support, and very like low risk when it comes to kiting as well. The gun buys you a stupid amount of distance as well as your veterans bonus, and Priestess being as broken as ever, as she always is. Pretty solid normal bans there. We're going to see Seer and Puppeteer being the first 2 locks here. Seer has always been good. We've seen his pick rate drop a little bit. I think that's why GSL is so comfortable picking him and giving him away with the global ban here, is because he's just not as useful as he used to be with that owl time being so short. And Puppeteer, which has been moving up in the meta with both the release of Ivy and with the adjustments that he's had, being really good against somebody like Opera as well, being able to eat so many hits. It's essentially like a psychologist on crack. We're going to see the next band being Psychologist, followed by a pick being Barmaid. Barmaid and Psychologist go hand in hand. Traditionally, you want to have one of them. It makes healing a lot faster, and both are really good at really good tanks, and can kite past a normal one hit and then blink, depending on how much distance you can buy yourself and whether or not you can get that bottle off. So no big shock there. We're going to see First Officer being the next lock here, which I assume this is going to be a mercenary pick then. For their last pick is going to be a Rescuer, I presume, and this is going to be Merc, possibly. Gravekeeper is going to be Gravekeeper. Maybe it's something like an Anne. Maybe they have like an Anne or something like that, possibly. We're going to see Zeus on the Puppeteer, Pearl on the Gravekeeper. We're going to see Abby on the Barmaid and Toxic on the Seer. This is, like I said, this is a very solid comp, very tanky. I think the only one that might be a little bit of risk is Gravekeeper. Depending on what hunter they were expecting here, I definitely think Mercenary might be the better pick here. Regardless of the map pick, it's your last pick. You don't have to worry about the global bans. But if it is something like Anne, or maybe they're expecting like a wheel or something on this map, then possibly I understand the Gravekeeper pick here, depending on what it is. We're Gravekeeper is also a little weak against chip hunters because you just wait on the chair from the shovel and then your chip happens as normal. But the rest of the team, I think, is really, really solid. Gravekeeper isn't the worst pick either. In my opinion, he's pretty good against Opera. He can eat, again, another Tinky Rescuer. But you don't have to. You're not worried about eating 2 hits and then you're down. So, pretty excited about that. Pretty excited to see how they utilize this Gravekeeper. Especially, I think it's a little hunter dependent, but I'm a big Gravekeeper fan. I'm not gonna lie. I've been a little bummed. There's gonna be a Hermit. And that does make a lot of sense. The only issue is when he gets out of the shovel, he's still going to be frozen. So that'll be. But I think I'm fairly confident the shovel dig actually takes his polarity off. But I could be completely wrong about that. I'm not going to lie. We'll see. To be honest, I have no clue. Give me one moment. Sorry about that. It is going to be a Hermit on the side of CNCE. I'm pretty excited about this. Hermit is, in my opinion, pretty high risk, high reward. Depending on how your early game goes and how well this team does manage their abilities, we are going to see one Sui build and is going to be on the Barmaid. Abby is going to be running the Sui build. Zeus is going to go in the middle. Pearl is going to go mid left. Barmaid is going to go top mid, and I'm assuming, yes, I was about to say, I'm assuming that if they're going mid left, they're going to go mid left and mid right. Pretty average spawn here. Again, same formation, just rotated around the map, and the Hermit is going to be spawning. I'm assuming reception, if not top right, possibly. Yes, top right. Again, what I was saying about the Hermit is super high risk, high reward. He can push for more, especially on a map as small as this. But if your endgame, if they're doing really good sharing the damage, as well as the Seer Owl gets used well and utilized well, as well as your flywheel and or broken windows are used really well, then that opens the possibility up for you to have a really slow late game. So it really depends on how they choose to share these colors. Do they try to share the colors heavily on the first kite, or do they share the colors heavy on the second kite and allow for the rebound to happen? So again, we are going to see how they. It's heavily dependent on how this early game goes. If you can get presence relatively fast, then it's going to make the rest of the game significantly difficult for the survivors. But if they can starve this Hermit of presence, he actually has a little bit of a weak chase, especially since that Owl is in play. It should buy a lot of time for their survivors, and the existence of the Owl and possibly even the Flywheel, depending on who he chases, should, in a perfect world, force 3, if not 4 charges out of this Hermit endgame, and he only has the ability to hold 1 at a time. So depending on how well, again, this early game goes, and how many charges they force out before a hit or a down happens, it will depend on how this mid game goes. Mid game is going to be a big thing to watch with Hermits, and how he manages the Cypher split, the Cypher connects, as well as the color sharing on the rebound. We're going to see him connect immediately and heading towards the Barmaid. The Barmaid is the one that kind of went chased here. This is the one with the full commit kite build. We are going to know that he sees Pearl and the Barmaid in the distance. He might chase Pearl here. If they can get rid of the Gravekeeper relatively quick here, it does have Tide. He's going to see him dig and leave, unfortunately, because, again, Gravekeeper is pretty good against Hermit. The shovel is essentially, it's impossible to freeze him out of the shovel. We're going to see good rotations happening from the side of GSL here. Essentially, everybody is cleared out, middle out. They are on the bottom half of the map on reception, and we are going to see him actually chasing Pearl. Pearl's shovel is on cooldown for another 7 seconds, but it is pretty safe to assume that Pearl is going to dig the moment that shovel comes up. We are going to see them hit with blue and disconnected, so they can't swap. Now, the only risk with this is that, this blink needs to hit prior to the shovel happening, so he can't make it obvious here, and Pearl should volt and then dig early. Possibly doesn't. The blink is going to happen as well. Exactly. See, the Pearl, amazing game sense to the side of GSL. Pearl understanding that blink is going to be up, whether that was a good call from the survivors or not. The connect's not up quite yet, but he's not going to connect ciphers again. And again, Pearl is delaying this blink. He was going to blink down and deal a lot of damage to begin with, but again, that shovel taking the polarity off, as well as keeping the blink from happening, putting the Hermit in a really rough position here. The beginning half of the game here, committing to the chase with Pearl is a little rough here. Again, Seer popping that out, that Cypher really fast. That Cypher was not connected. None of these Cyphers are connected, allowing for a lot of Cypher progress happening here. We are going to see a lot of damage happening on this first initial hit. If you're Hermit, you kind of want to get the freeze here. You don't really want to blink for the first hit. Perfect. So now you're going to see him, the Owl, again, playing a huge part. I said that, it is going to allow a lot of charges to be wasted here, and Pearl doing a great job on already burning 3 charges prior to the Owl. This is as good of an early game as GSL could possibly ask for here. Blink hit out of the shovel. Unfortunately, Pearl, I don't think Pearl should have saved. I think Pearl should have just saved that shovel for the rebound. So now this is a little scary because they do need to rely heavily on the damage sharing for the rebound. He needs to be careful though, because Zeus is already lurking, and if he leaves, Zeus is gonna get this free rescue. Perfect, awesome, great game sense from the Hermit, not stepping too far over, and allowing that free rescue. But again, they are gonna have to rely on these color shares for this rebound. So Pearl needs to make sure that they get as much distance and force this color swap out. Otherwise, outside of the color switches, Pearl doesn't have a lot of rebound potential due to no items, and no shovel is a big thing. They're just going to let her die here, which I think is the right move, letting them die. Maybe they can play into Barmaid Bottle, but possibly, I mean, it's tough to play into Barmaid support, like direct support, giving the survivor cutting the bottle, because you're not really guaranteed. I think this is going to allow Zeus to rescue for free here. Although, I mean, he is just waiting, but I don't know if I agree with the wait here. You are gonna see, exactly. You're not gonna see a lot of damage shared here, as well as like now he has he has 2 regular charges, and we're gonna see Zeus down here. See, this is when it gets a little scary. Cyphers are about to be primed here if he doesn't harass Cyphers. Great job harassing Cyphers. I was going to say, both Cyphers are really close to being primed here. That if he didn't teleport onto that Seer and actually cut the Seer's decoding, then it would have been enough time for body block. There was a really great body block on Zeus. But this is where it gets a little scary, right? Because now he can share on this Cypher. It is at 88, but as long as he harasses it, it's gonna make things a little awkward. Possibly Seer being able to pop this in time. Seer being really aggressive here. GSL might have found that opening. Great job from Pearl. Pearl really doing an amazing early game kite, allowing them all that free Cypher decoding. He disconnected the Cyphers, trying to get that blink hit on to Pearl for that early jump of damage with the 1.5 hit. Pearl, realizing amazing game sense, does dig, takes the charge off, as well as keeping the blink from happening, and then dodges 2 more after that. And then again, the great Owl from the Seer, allowing Pearl to force yet another charge out. This is a really rough position for the Hermit to be in. A great job on the GSL survivors as well, resetting. I think they're going to go start middle and just pressure one more Cypher. But again, with this one at 90%, I'm not sure if they don't have trait swap. I can't really see it. But the Hermit's kind of in a position where do you trait swap to abnormal here, or do you run the risk of them priming the Cypher in time? We're going to see Puppeteer being picked up, not picking himself up, allowing for that self-heal to still be active for endgame. Chairing possibly basement here, depending on the struggle. I don't think he has anti-struggle here, so I don't think he makes this. Regardless, though, the Cypher is going to be primed, and I think this year does struggle out here. I don't think he makes this. Do they pop here, or do they wait? I think, honestly, they pop early. Seer does have borrowed time. Perfect. Early pop, everybody at full health. Gates are going to be connected, I think, relatively soon. If he can dodge this, he doesn't dodge it, it's going to be an instant down. Blink is up. Possible trait swap teleport. Is connecting the gates. They're going to be moving really slow here. Does chair, but again, this is Seer's first chair. This is the first chair. The only person that has been chaired is on the opposing side of the map, so you can't really teleport on Pearl to apply pressure. He is going to shoot a... This does hit. He does have one more charge, possibly allowing to get this hit on Zeus. But again, he's with everybody at full health. Is going to allow Zeus to eat that hit and tank it. We are going to see the rescue happening on this year as well. Great communication, letting him know, Zeus telling his team, they're committing to me. Go ahead, missed blink, unfortunately. We are going to see a down here, though. I don't think this actually eats enough damage, but I could be completely wrong. I actually am not too familiar with Puppeteer. We're going to see that down here, but again, I think they make it to this gate in time. If not, they can play this really slow. This might be a drawn-out round 1 from GSL and CNCE here. 2 survivor teams showing the potential and showing the dominance and the communication from both teams here. Amazing job from both GSL and the CNCE survivors, cutting this clean. Now going into round 2, this gets exciting. 3-1, 3-1. The game itself, essentially, that round 1 didn't happen. So now CNCE and GSL both kind of reset mentally, and they go into round two dead even. So amazing communication from the GSL's side of survivors. An amazing kite. I mean, flowers where flowers do. Amazing kite from Pearl. Shoveling early, allowing for that blink to be delayed, forcing yet two. I mean, not only forcing 2 or 3 out, but forcing a 4th charge out and a 5th one after that owl. Amazing job, amazing communication from GSL. The Hermit did have quite a few, the early charge hits were really good. They were really accurate, but I think the disconnecting the ciphers to keep them from sharing damage early game was super risky because the cooldown is relatively long, and if you can't guarantee that blink hit relatively fast after you disconnect, you lose a lot of the pressure from the game itself, because there's 2 different types of pressure. You have your cipher pressure, map pressure, and your direct pressure. And if you're disconnecting your only map pressure, which makes Hermit so sketchy at times, you better guarantee the fact that you're going to hit you're going to get a hit relatively quick and allow that big jump of damage comparatively to the damage share. But I don't think disconnecting the ciphers was really worth it at that time. So unfortunately, right idea. I think Pearl just played around it really well with the shovel and delaying the blink itself. Sorry about that. I am looking at the ban picks and the map picks. We're going to see GSL banning Chinatown round 2. And they're going to pick Lakeside. I think this is a good, this is a relatively good pick from the side of CNCE. There is not a lot of big map focused hunters that I know of that Sage plays. So I think a lot of their hunter pool is favored heavily to the smaller side maps. So great counter pick. Great map pick from the side of CNCE here. And I think that's why they also banned Chinatown. A little bit of a big map, not the best for BQ, not the best, honestly pretty bad for Opera. So it does make sense on why the Chinatown ban was picked, as well as the Lakeside pick here. We are waiting for the GSL side to pick which faction is going first here. We're going to see Sage is hunting again. So Sage is hunting round 1. So we're going to see the first half of round 2 is going to be yet again starting with GSL's Hunter and CNCE's Survivor. So we are also going to see a sub out from the side of CNCE. I'm assuming Survivor side, since they're bringing it up now, possibly. We're going to see a subbing Violet in Violet out for Corozon. I'm not sure how you say that, but I probably fumbled that bag a little bit, but it's okay. It's all right. I'm dyslexic. What can I say? Pretty excited about the round 2. That was a pretty exciting opening round for GSL versus CNC. Solid showing from both Survivor sides. I'm looking to see I'm excited to see who can maintain that level of communication and dominance on the Survivor side going into rounds 2 and 3 here. So, we are going to see the Hunter from GSL and the Survivors from CNCE in the second half, for the first half of this round 2. First half of the round 2. Waiting on bans and picks here from the side of from GSL. They are talking about footlong sandwiches, which honestly, guys, chat, Subway's sounds pretty banging right now. No? How we feel about Subway, guys? Rate it from 1 out of 10. We have 48 people watching. I want to see like 48 numbers, 1 through 10. 1 through 10. What are we feeling about Subway sandwiches? We got some time to burn here. Nobody's banning yet. They're still talking about Subway sandwiches and their ingredients. So I see a 7. Go eat Wendy's. A 0? Huh? Never had it out of 10? What? It's like a 6? Okay, a 6 is good. 8 is good. Okay, 7 is understandable. Never had Subway. Never had Subway. Meatball sandwich is a 10? That's what okay, I don't know about the guys. Shout out Ken for speaking his truth, but sometimes some truths aren't truths for anybody besides one person, right? Meatballs on a sandwich, I think, is criminal. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. I think meatballs on a sandwich is criminal. I think that's criminal. 5, they put too much lettuce on mine. That's valid. Wendy's Krabby Patty. Oh, I heard about that. I heard about the Wendy's Krabby Patty. Okay, how good do we think the Wendy's Krabby Patty is gonna be? All right, we're not casting anymore. We're actually waiting. We're rating fast food chain. All right. What do we think about how good do we think that Wendy's Krabby Patty's gonna hit? They don't have a Subway where I'm at. Okay, well go somewhere else, I guess. Road trip to a Subway. What do you mean? What road trip? What do we think? What do we think, Body Pop? Little family road trip to Subway, or what are we thinking? It's gonna taste like plantain cooked it? I hope not. I hope not. Probably a 7. I hope not, man. I hope it's good at least. I hope it does it justice, but we're still waiting on bans, you guys. So we got a lot more Subway talk left in us. We can chat about Subway and this Krabby Patty. No, I'm drinking a mouthful of water. I'm just choked on it. It's like I'm sorry. So good. Okay, my bad. Sorry, guys. Subway talk has to end. Lolzy yelled at me. My bad. Honest mistake. My hands up. Won't happen again. Scouts honor. Bans are going to be BQ Hunter. The BQ or the Hunter ban, obviously, it's a bigger map. It's an okay map to actually force an opera on. So it's not that big of a deal. The BQ ban does take away Sage's, I think, longest running main. So it's who can hunt the hunters most. You know, who's most comfortable with on the side of her hunter mains, as well as a mercenary and seer ban coming from the side of Sage. Really solid bans here, and again another rescuer ban. So when you're committing the mercenary ban, you traditionally only ban him on bigger maps to allow yourself the possibility of a cutoff. But it's always good to see hunters follow through on more on rescue bans to actually make that rescue itself really difficult. We're gonna see Embalmer, Painter, and Fire Investigator on the side of CNCE. Embalmer's a really solid character to force draws, which I'm assuming what they're looking to do here. Maybe they're comfortable with their hunter pushing for more. Maybe they're going to utilize that coffin for more, but we'll see how they utilize that. But Embalmer is a really solid draw character. Painter and Fire Investigator have been really regarded as kind of okay characters for rank itself, but have been used a lot overseas lately, and we are seeing that start to trickle down into NAEU. Gravekeeper being the final ban on the side of GSL, and Wildling being the final pick on the side of CNCE Survivor side. Wildling is another character that's been regarded as pretty okay, pretty mild. As of late, he's made his way back into the meta. Not back into the meta. He kind of for the first time, admittedly, so he's kind of poop when it comes to decoding. But his rescue, with the meta right now being a lot of one-hit hunters, he's really good at getting to the chair without getting stuffed. The cutoff doesn't affect him as much. He has both the 2 hits with the bar and the dash forward that should allow him to negate that cutoff. So I think that's kind of the point behind picking him here. Fire Investigator, really good transition character for such a large map like this. And Painter, Painter is, again, a really good tight kiting character. You traditionally want to have somebody on Painter that can kite bare bones dry, because it does take a little bit to get that painting. But the chair itself is also really good. You can save at like 75% of a chair, and then that painter's passive with the chair, adjusted chair mechanics does allow him to actually sit on chair and finish that last 25%. We're going to see a disciple coming on the side of Sage here. Wildling not too scared of a disciple. Fire investigator, depending on whether or not he's first chase or not. If he is first chase, it's going to be a little difficult for the Ann possibly. But anything outside of that, the fire investigator doesn't actually cover enough distance with just the bounce itself. And then a bomber is a really good character against Ann because, you can be greedy, kite, die, and then nobody has to blow out the ciphers. A little bit of a weird spawn here coming from the side of CNCE here. Normally we would see, when we see a spawn like this, it would be dust spawning one to the right, and it would be an L spawn, or the painter spawning one below, and it would be they call it the bow tie spawn. So a little bit of a unique spawn here. I'm assuming Ann just goes in the open spot. Perfect. The reason why, you guarantee your weakest chase is probably going to be in big boat. But this gives you the ability to pick 3 different characters to actually chase here. And in my opinion, Ann can chase the painter pretty comfortably. No flywheels. We are going to see all 3 bringing broken windows, except for Wildlings bringing Tide. No Sui builds here. And actually, broken windows is considerably better than flywheel against Ann. So, with the side of putting themselves in a good position here based on persona webs itself, they're in a really good spot here. And again, Painter is a very shaky chase, in my opinion, for the side of the survivors, because one, as long as Sage hits the first cat, it should be a relatively fast down, because Painter doesn't have anything to make distance besides the broken windows, and even when they do end up getting that painting up, the cat will be able to just take the ability to place the painting away. So it really depends on whether or not he's going to dodge this first cat will pretty much decide the rest of this initial kite, and whether or not he can actually get blink out is, in my opinion, a little shaky here, specifically just because Ann does really well at closing distance and Painter doesn't have anything to make that distance up. So kind of excited about this first kite here. We're going to see her start that chase with Painter, I presume, here. Perfect, yes, the Painter is going to immediately be running into Big Boat. Kind of expected that, but the one thing we do need to be a little worried about is the fact that this Cypher is blocked, so we are going to be rotating on top of each other. The possibility of Embalmer being found. Whether or not they get this, Embalmer's not found, but I'm kind of curious on whether or not they actually got the image of the Painter. Cutting on a blocked Cypher is really solid work from the survivors, allowing that Embalmer to rotate out safely. Missing the first cats, unfortunately, for Sage here. Kind of losing sight of the Painter. He might be changing targets. Not really willing to commit to a place like Big Boat. Big Boat is a really tough chase for an Ann or a BQ. Lots of level changes. The cats don't really play too well with level changes here, so we are going to see them kind of look for this this Fire Investigator here. Good communication on the side of CNCE. That Justice rotating out super early. Sage not getting any tinnitus at Shack, assuming that they rotated out, looking for somebody else. And again, good rotation, good communication here. Leaving that Cypher early, still no clue, still can't find anybody. Cypher that Dust is on is at 55. The other two at 50 and one at 14. This is a lot of free Cypher progress. This is what makes rotation so good. It's lots of free progress. Finding the Wildling, unfortunately, you might have to burn warp just to find a target, which puts, again, is really, really beneficial for the survivors. Not only that, but they did find the Embalmer, which is kind of their preferred chase, in my opinion. You have the Coffin down and Big Boat. You don't have to kite 3 Cyphers at this point. You can take a hit, die away from your Coffin, and then Coffin back, and at that point they're in a winning position here. 3 Cyphers are about to pop as they got their first hit, and this Embalmer Cypher itself is at 25. So as long as they can get away from this Cypher, the Wildling can actually rotate down, and they'll be ahead by a quarter of a Cypher here at the start of the game. We're going to see a dash, the pallet break, that should be a down here. The Embalmer doesn't have flywheel, I believe, so I see an instant Coffin here, and again, that Cypher at this point has been popped. So not only is the Coffin relatively far away, we're going to see the Painter attempt to get the image of Sage here. So again, not only has this Cypher been popped here, but Does that hit? It doesn't hit, unfortunately. A good body block, I think, coming from this painter. Painter is going to body block here, I think, one hit, and then place the painting down, allowing him to transition. Body blocks the doorway, actually. Amazing job there. At that point, I think you would just put the painting down and don't eat the hit, save the hell state. But we are going to see the last two cybers are being started, which gives them this ability to kind of to freely support here. We should see this painting down relatively quick here, possibly. Maybe trying to get him to fall. And she does fall. And a little bit of a miscommunication though. The Sage does take the fall, but Zena does commit down the stairs. Unfortunately, that would have been really good if a little bit of communication. We're going to see the painting placed here, allowing a ton of distance for this Embalmer here. This the rotations really put a lot of pressure on Sage to start that chase. Unfortunately, lots of free cyber progress, and again, this rebound is going amazing for the Embalmer. A little bit of a short first kite, but in tandem with this painter support, allowing for this rebound to be super long here. They are going to try to save this Embalmer from being dead on Charon down. So you're going to see the painter eat the body block here. Does Sage just pick him up? I think she does. The Anna's going to pick him up and chair the painter, but unfortunately, it is the painter. Lots of chair time. The last cipher is being worked on by the wildling here. About to be primed. It is going to be a 4-person endgame. Embalmer is going to be hanging out in Big Boat. I think Embalmer needs to go to a gate. Yeah, perfect. Embalmer's leaving Big Boat. Stage needs to force this rescue, but unfortunately, they are going to be getting to the chair rescue, and we are going to see a pop shortly after this hit. I think they're going to try to burn a cat and then pop, but maybe not. They're going to pop here. We're going to see an instant cat, so they do need to be a little careful on how fast one of these characters go down. We're going to see the Fire Investigator changing levels and blocking that ramp off. Sage is actually going to change their mind and commit to the painter. We're going to see Sage put down, not Sage, painter rather, put down this painting super early because the painter actually the painter wants to negate Sage. Does get the hit, unfortunately. Amazing job from Sage, charge attacking on that corner, getting the hit on painter. Maybe this opens up a possibility of possibly getting another kill. Allowing them for a draw, depending. Oh, unfortunately, and being pushed back through their warp without actually wanting to is going to secure the draw. Well, secure the 3-man on the side of CNCE survivors. Amazing, rotations early game. Solid kite from the Embalmer. Good enough. Coffin's back in a Big Boat. Solid support from the painter. That is a rough way to end the game. Oh, that's so unfortunate. That is so unfortunate from the side of GSL. That's so unfortunate from the side of GSL's Hunter. Adjusting, I think it happened when they went to adjust the cats. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not meaning to laugh. It's just that's really unfortunate. That's so unfortunate coming from the side of GSL Hunter. I think that what happened is when they went to adjust their cats, they actually moved backwards, and it actually pushed them right back through the warp here. So we are going to see yet another 3-1 round coming from the CNCE's survivor side here, which is going to put a lot of pressure on the GSL survivors. But good news for them, they did show that that they can produce results similar to that 3-1. So I'm pretty excited to see how GSL survivor side actually manages to rebuttal from this, because they did rebuttal. We're gonna see how well GSL survivor side can actually rebuttal from this, and whether or not they can 3-man as well. Because at this point, you're in a position where you can't just rely on winning the next 2. You are going to have to kind of be willing to go ahead. Oh, my bad. Of course. We are going to see the GSL survivors kind of be in a position where you're kind of forced you're kind of forced into a position where you have to respond back with a 3-man of your own. because you're my bad. I'm sorry. I'm reading chats and I'm trying to keep up with things. I'm severely dyslexic and and my attention span is so short, like a goldfish. Um, as I was saying, you are gonna have your GSL is kind of a put in a position where this is now the second round, and your hunter did get 3 man, so you're at a 2 point deficit at this point. That even if you draw this round, you are not only down a round and down in points. So going into round three, you would have to win that round in a more dominant fashion the um, than CNC did this round. So GSL is kind of put in a position where you need to kind of over extend here to push for that 3 man. At minimum, they need to secure the draw to make sure they have the chance to rebuttal back in round three with a large enough point difference to either push this into OT or win this matchup based on points. But again, that is kind of a sketchy way of doing it. It's difficult for hunters specifically to kind of push for wins, especially hunters that have smaller map pools to push for wins in the later rounds consistently like they are in round one and round two. Because they're playing with hunters that they may not play as much, or hunters that they're less familiar with, or hunters that are less meta. So I think GSL survivors are definitely, um, definitely in a position where they need to push for more here. Um, Pretty excited to see what the survivors from GSL are going to do because again, they are put in a position where they have to respond with a 3 man at minimum. But they were put in that same position round one and they responded amazingly with it. Pearl with a really solid kite, really good management for the off chair kites, the body block from Zeus at God Palette, the coordination from the rescue when he left the chair. There is that GSL does have that ability to push for more and the communication, the teamwork to push for more. But it's just a question of consistency. Can they do it for the second time in a row and match the pace that CNCE survivors are setting? Because regardless of the team that CNC is playing against, and to be fair, whether or not it's CNC or another team, to match a pace like that is going to be a little difficult to do it more than one round in a row. But again, that they GSL survivors have shown that they have that ability. They do have that ability in round one, and this is. I don't remember correctly. Yeah. Okay, perfect. The two global bans are actually Seer and Puppeteer, which leaves a lot of options for GSL to pick. So they're not really limited on their inability to play, a meta character that might be really good on Lakeside. And the CNC's Hunter is actually forced to ban something like Priestess or Mercenary or Acrobats, maybe a Patient, something that is really good on such a large map like this. I think GSL did a very solid job matching the pace of CNCE with the survivors in their three man, but also doing it with no meta characters, quote unquote meta characters, in their first two initial picks. So they do have at least, this is a lot of pressure to produce another 3 man here, regardless of whether or not they've shown it they can do it in the past rounds. But they do have that one thing to fall back on, is the fact that essentially all of the meta characters are up for grabs, and not only they're up for grabs, but that means that instead of being able to rely on the fact that they are possibly global banned, the hunter on the CNCE side actually has to spin the ban to actually knock that character out. We should be getting into bans and picks here relatively shortly, but the one thing that I did want to mention again is I know I'm kind of guilty of it, admittedly so. I did laugh a little bit. It's a little silly. But let's make sure that we keep things. I saw some comments from both about the Hermit gameplay and about Sage's gameplay. So let's it is really solid teamwork and communication coming from the survivor side. So let's make sure we're being respectful to both the survivors. Every single hunter that I've seen here so far has been a higher tier hunter, and not to sound too mean, but it's really easy to talk about things in the YouTube chat without actually having the pressure of needing to perform in front of a chat or on stream like this. So let's, be mindful, be respectful. And it's funny to laugh, but let's make sure that we're not being too disrespectful, right? We're going to see the first two picks coming, well, the first two bans rather, coming from the side of CNCE's Hunter, being Priestess and Acrobat, both characters being hard meta characters. Priestess, a really good support character. That global portal can make things super interesting late in early game. And I know the Julian, is it Abby? Abby is my wife, is toxic. He's a previous S badge priestess, lots of experience. That's like his idol, his main. That's who he's kind of known for. So eliminating the possibility of giving GSL that win potential and taking away the possibility of a global portal or priestess support, as well as taking away the arguably the best individual kiter in the game in Acrobat, really limiting GSL to what they can do meta wise. And we are going to see GSL banning that Hermit. They 3-manned it once, but they don't want to take that risk. That is, this is a Hermit main. So we do kind of want to respect ban that Hermit, not take the risk again. We are going to see an Embalmer and Psychologist lock on the side of GSL, and a Coordinator ban on the side of CNCE's Hunter. Coordinator, again, a pretty consistent ban, early rounds and late rounds in the meta currently. She's a really good support character, low risk, high reward support, as well as the same thing with the kite as well with that gun, especially if she's your first kite. And we're going to see the Embalmer and Psychologist are both really good picks for draws. But depending on how well they're able to utilize that Embalmer, we did see the rotations were on the side of CNCE survivors. So that Coffin actually, instead of being draw potential, it was actually their win potential. He disappeared all the way into a big boat, which is an area that was really good to kite in, as well as the Cypher was already popped there. We're going to see Gravekeeper being their lock with the my apologies, being their second lock, their third lock here. Again, Gravekeeper's not a bad pick here, but with Mercenary being an option and knowing that you have to, you are put in a position where you need a 3-man, it's kind of confusing on why Mercenary wasn't picked there, especially maybe maybe they are expecting a Hunter that Mercus doesn't perform well against. But again, on a map like this, you kind of want that distant making character. The final pick is going to be the Prisoner. We are probably going to see Psychologist being played by Abby, Prisoner being played by Toxic, Pearl playing Gravekeeper, and Embalmer being played by Zeus is probably what I would assume. Maybe Zeus on Prisoner, but Prisoner is going to allow them that decoding pillow, possibly pushing pushing the limits with how fast ciphers get done. And when the prisoner is actually able to support the rescuer in getting a cipher done, it actually it shortens the kite time that is needed to open for draw potential or win potential on both sides. So it's like, if he spawns big boat and the Hunter chooses not to spawn big boat, I think this is going to be a really interesting game, because I think Prisoner's potential both in kite and on ciphers is really good, especially when he's connected to the cipher of the rescuer. The only thing that we do need to consider here is it is a big map, so it is a little unfortunate here. We're going to lose some decoding progress. Pearl is going to be on the Embalmer, and Zeus is going to take the role of the rescuer here, it looks like. And we're going to see a Wax Artist as the pick for the CNCE's Hunter side here. So Wax is a pretty good map, pretty good Hunter on this map, and Gravekeeper is actually good against Wax because you don't eat a bunch of that Wax. There's no cutoff potential. So I have not done my research on CNCE. I am a little part-time caster here. I just work here, man. Don't yell at me. But GSL clearly doing their due diligence on the side of CNCE's Hunter. Amazing job with the rescuer pick here. The only thing is, he's not a distance maker, so they're gonna have to leave a little early. We are gonna see, ironically enough, the Prisoner not spawning big boat here. Um. Prisoner is actually, I think, is going to be the first chase here, and he's not in the best area against the Wax Artist. So we might see, depending on how early the prisoner can actually rotate out of here, is going to kind of depend on um, how fat, how early prisoner can actually rotate out. I think will depend on how long this kite is, because they need to get up towards like shit corner and little boat and sorry, my bad, poop corner. I don't know if I can cuss on here. My bad, guys. Honest mistake. My hands are up. Scouts honor won't happen again. How fast they can actually get out of that area, because Big Rock isn't a terrible area, but you only have one pallet and a window of high walls to actually deal with and work around in order to kite that wax. Everything in the middle is short walled, as well as a lot of the pallets, and the Big Rock itself. Only the rock is tall enough to block that wax. So let's hope that their rotations are on point here. I do, we showed great communication in the past. Again, I am Lucifer. This is GSL versus CNCE, and I'm your caster for the second half of this round 2. We're going to see the prisoner being found relatively early here, and in a least beneficial spot than he was in prior, in Big Rock, possibly rotating a little early. But again, these walls I don't think are actually big enough to block the wax. And these pallets just aren't consistent in kiting in any right. So we're going to see prisoner take a lot of wax here. We're going to see a relatively early hit, I think. And although this is a really bad start here, so this is going to be a really early down here, because now prisoner has taken a hit with 80% wax. So it is going to be an instant down here. We're going to see the freeze, but that's not enough time. Unfortunately, prisoner is going to be down without blink prior to blink even being up. I believe is that Patroller? Oh, it's warp. Sorry, my bad. I'm blind. My bad, guys. Hand up, hands are up. Scouts honor won't happen again. I'll look better next time. But we're going to see a really early down here prior to warp being up. We are going to see the wax actually pushing to block Zeus's Cypher off, as well as pressure him into rescuing quite early. Does that hit? It does hit. So we are going to see that Cypher being blocked off. Going to slow the decoding down by a pretty large amount. Not only that, but he knows where the rescuer is coming from. So the moment that Zeus gets in his shovel, he can actually come and like kind of work his way towards and cut that rescue off. At this point, with Wax Artist being so good after he gets presence, do you really want to feed the Wax presence, or do you want to kind of push for a 3-man mid game and save health states and keep his presence low here? Zeus is going to take a hit, not use his shovels. Probably he's going to use his shovel after the fact. Yeah, exactly. I think this is a good job from Zeus. This is actually able to block wax, even though the size difference is like crazy. Good flywheel coming from the prisoner. Prisoner does need to make this pallet in order for Zeus to come back with a body block on the shovel, but Zeus is going to be able to buy a lot of time blocking a lot of this wax off. Good shock from the side of Prisoner. Prisoner is going to be broken here. We are going to see an amazing body block from the side of Zeus. This is going to give them the possible the time they need to make up and push themselves into a little bit of a draw or winning position here, because that down was so early. Prisoner doing a really good job on dodging wax, slamming the pallet. Unfortunately, I do think this is going to be a down. Not getting the body block off in time. Pearl not able to body block. We are going to see a coffin. He does have the image, but unfortunately this is going to be a second tear, so the coffin is going to be nullified. And there is dying on that Gravekeeper Cypher, so they are going to be behind on about a half a Cypher. They're going to need to start a new one. So really strong start from the Wax. Oh, he is actually dead on chair. I'm sorry. Again, I'll pay more attention. My bad. Whoopsie daisies. We're going to see them warping onto the Psychologist Cypher, actually. And again, 3 Cyphers down. You're in a position where you need a 3-man draw at minimum. Their Cyphers are struggling here. It is really easy for the Wax Artist to pressure both Shack and this Crab Shack area. Psychologist slamming the pallet early. I think this is a good idea. They're going to get hit, but at minimum they need to force the... it is going to be a great job from the Psychologist changing directions. It is going to be full presence here, still open. Lots of wax to work with. Should be another full presence hot wax hit here, unfortunately. Swinging a little early again. I don't think, the speed boost is noticeable. Unfortunately, not going to be able to freeze them before they hit this window. But again, a lot of wax being taken here. I think this should be, maybe not actually. Psychologist doing a really good job at making distance and maintaining that distance, keeping the wax from actually being able to freeze them. Oh, and actually buying enough time for their wax to start dropping. Amazing job from the Psychologist. Amazing rebound here. Kind of putting them in a position where they can draw again. Zeus does need to kind of kite somewhat long here, because Embomber is the only one that can rescue. And there's one in Cypher's middle, the other one is Shaq. And we are going to see Abby start that another last Cypher in shit corner as well. Good job, I think, from the side of the psychologist, buying a lot of time. You know, they did take 2 relatively quick downs, but they did stop that wax from snowballing anymore, buying themselves lots of distance, as well as buying themselves enough distance that their wax actually starts to go down, forcing the wax to come and chase Zeus. Zeus slamming that pallet before dropping popping that shovel again. This is going to be Zeus's last shovel, unfortunately, but I think that they are so far ahead on Cyphers again that they are in a position where they can... they're in a draw position here once again. We do need to be careful, though, because Pearl is the only one that can rescue. But at the same time, Pearl is the only one that is full health. So if Pearl does get found, it does make things a little sketchy for the side of GSL. They do, I think, need to kind of consider resetting here. Middle is blocked. He's pressuring Abby Cypher right now. Unfortunately, seeing her trail, so he is going to actually catch her in the open here. This should result in a down. It's not a lot that Psychologist can actually do here. Again, unfortunate that the Wax was able to see that last little bit of the trail. We are going to see both Cyphers should be primed in time for the rescue. Zeus does have an elbow pad, actually, so Zeus can make this rescue, or Pearl is going to make the rescue. This is going to be a little awkward, though, because this is going to be blocked. So he should... Oh, he actually missed it. I don't think it's actually blocked. Hold on, let me turn my camera. Yeah, it's not actually blocked. He actually missed the wax bomb, unfortunately. So this may open the possibility up for GSL to again draw this. They're in a really solid position here. Unfortunately, though, you know, the CNC Hunter doesn't actually have to hit Pearl here. If they wax them off, it does push for after half, and it is after half already. So, you know, they are going to need a relatively fast the down as well. It's going to be a farm. This actually this makes this draw significantly more difficult. You know, it is going to be an instant warp as well, a really accurate warp. I think this should be a down here on the side of Psychologist as well, and Psychologist is dead on chair. And this is going to be another 3-man on the side of CNCE, but this time on the Hunter side. Really solid job from the side of GSL, though, with that early down on Prisoner. Made things really, really sketchy. Zeus with an amazing body block and eating a lot of that wax, buying a ton of time, a ton of free time for the Prisoner, and buying enough time for the Cyphers to start to be popped. They put themselves back in a draw position, but again, this full presence wax is just no joke when you don't have something like Flywheel to maybe Flywheel that full. Or maybe, you know, something or other, an owl or something or other, to actually like give you that cushion for full presence. But amazing job on the side of CNCE's Hunter, and again, amazing job from the GSL survivors, almost bringing that back into a draw. Exciting games, really, really exciting games so far here. I've thoroughly enjoyed all 4 of these games. Has there been 4? 4, right? Yeah, two round 1, 2 round 2. Yeah. My bad, guys. There's been a lot of my bads. Whoopsie daisies. My bad. Yeah, I'll lock in. Yeah, the patroller was crazy. That's on my end. That's on me, pimp. My fault, OG. Never happen again. But yeah, no, really solid. Really solid one start and really exciting start from both teams. So, you know, you guys, I'm sure you guys are eating this up, licking your chops, finger looking good. Know what I mean? But I think the early down was a little unfortunate. You know, Prisoner did counter rotate really well at the start. The Wax Artist was predicting that he would push logs, and Prisoner actually wrapped back towards the big boat, but unfortunately, the Wax Artist looked to their left as the Prisoner was actually crossing from that big rock area to those pallets, and actually saw him and caught him in a very, very wildly disadvantageous area. So unfortunately, you know, my bad, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, the Prisoner being caught out in a very poor area for them. But again, you know, that just goes to show the communication and the teamwork from GSL for such an early down to happen, and for that Gravekeeper to actually have the ability to buy so much time for the Prisoner and body block so much of that wax, and not only body block the wax, but also body block the hit after the Prisoner was frozen was huge. And that in itself actually brought them back into draw potential there. Really well Cypher management, but again, you know, solid work from the CNCE's Hunter and the utilization of that full presence to make that rescue as late as possible after the hit animation started. So Yeah, great job from both teams here. Pretty exciting start, no? Pretty exciting start, guys. Which shoulder is crazy? Yeah, I mean, my bad, y'all, my bad. It, I was feeling silly and I was feeling blind and I couldn't see. It's a little difficult to tell what it is when you're like looking through a number, right? That's on me. That's on me, guys. We're gonna see going into round three here. I believe it's gonna be exactly. So, CNCE is banning. CNCE is actually banning the Arms Factory map. Another smaller map. I think they're trying to limit the amount of small maps that GSL can actually put Sage on. They're going to go. See, GSL is going to respond back with a big map, actually, possibly playing to their Survivor side more. That GSL is actually going to pick Moonlit. So we're going to see a Arms Factory ban from the side of CNCE and a Moonlit pick from the side of GSL. A little bit of a debate. A little bit of a debate going on which faction is starting. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. My bad, y'all. They're calling each other biggies in there. Arms Factory round three. It's Arms Factory is banned round three. Yes, it's going to be a Moonlit round three. Is what's going to happen. I still have not seen an answer on what's happening. So it looks like CNC is going to survive first, possibly. Um, Okay, yes, CNC is surviving first, so we're going to see CNC survivors come out first, as well as GSL's Hunter come out first. This has been I think this has been the same order all three rounds now, right? Possibly. Yes, that is correct. So we are going to see Sage opening it up for the CNC the round three here. Um, um, hold your horses. That's what I'm holding my horses, man. I've been holding them for a while, for a minute now. I'm holding my horses, holding them. I can't hold them back much longer though. We are gonna see. It looks like a sub from the side of GSL, possibly. But what is happening? What's happening? Bro, see, listen, the chat's out here saying, do as I say, not as I do, as commentator. Oh, my bad, I cussed again. My bad. Hands are up. It happened again. Don't take my scouts on. I was never a Boy Scout, so don't take my scouts honor too serious. Don't take my scout badges away. But the chat's like out here cooking me, but unfortunately, what I'm reading is not the most organized, y'all. I'm not working with a lot here, y'all. I'm not working here with a lot. Okay. I could leave y'all with a silent stream if you want. I will turn this car around if you really make me. I will not. I will not cave. I will turn this car around. We will go home. No dinner. We are going to see the side of Hunters actually being subbed out. We're going to see Jam being subbed in for Sage. So we're going to see Jam opening up for the side of GSL and the side of Hunter coming into this round three here. So we're going to see Jam versus the CNCE Survivor. Those of you who don't know Jam, Jam was the rescue main for Omega during their Koa run. And he's kind of taken a step away from competitive as of recent, and now he is taking a step into the Hunter role for the side of to GSL. So no McDonald's, no McDonald's, no McDonald's, no Subway, no Wendy's, Krabby Patty, none of it. No, all of it. All of it's we're going home, no dinner. No dinner. So we're gonna see Jam actually opening up for GSL's round three here on the side of the Hunter. So Pretty excited about this. I haven't really seen GM hunt in competitive yet, because I think he hunted in a match that it wasn't a stream match for IBT, so we didn't get to see it. So I'm pretty excited about seeing being able to see like Jam's first competitive like hunter match in recent times. If I think so. If I'm wrong, then hands up, Scouts Hunter. That's my bad. But I am fairly confident this is Jam's recent quote unquote debut with GSL's hunter side. So we aren't going to see any subs coming from the side of CNCE. So we're going to see bans and picks here starting relatively early, I think. Well, relatively here soon, not early, rather. So the global bans, I believe, are guys. Oh, guys, I forgot. Global bans are okay. There they go. There they go. I was about to say all I could remember was Siren and Bomber. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That's my bad. We're gonna see. I was gonna say the Puppeteer and Seer I think were GSL. No. Yeah. Sorry guys. My bad, y'all. Subway Surfers. What are we talking about in the chat? What's going on, guys? What's happening? The car is definitely being turned around. Yeah, all of y'all are getting grounded. Everybody hand your devices over. They're all being taken away. Sorry, we are waiting to fix these global bans. I don't want to speak too soon. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the global bans are going to be Embalmer and Acrobat, as well as Painter and Journalist. So we're going to see going into round 3. CNCE has also done a really good job at managing the amount of meta characters that they have actually locked. So the potential here and on the Survivor side of CNCE is still very healthy. The only thing that unfortunately does the only unfortunate thing is like Acrobat's arguably like one of his best maps, especially on one of the stops. And he is permabanned, but things like Mercenary, you do have the opportunity to play him, and it's a big map, so Mercenary is still open. So that does put Jam in a position where, do you allow the Mercenary or do you force them to ban it? Also, I don't want to respond too much to chat anymore because I want to focus on the game, but I do see that DS under your pillow. I will be confiscating that as well, so in the hand. Outside of that, again, it does put them in a position where they are very healthy in regards to what they can pick, especially for a round 3 and a big map like this. Specifically with the role of Rescuers, it does put Jam, Priestess is almost a must. We're going to see her banned, I'm assuming, right here. And that's put Jam in a position where does he want to ban the Merc? Or does he take the Seer ban that we normally see? Who does the Seer ban? Perfect. So we're going to see the normal kind of stable bans, Priestess Seer. If you're CNCE here, you want to lock this Mercenary pretty quickly here. We're going to see a Wax and Opera ban here. Both pretty good. I think Opera you don't really need to ban on a map like this. Depending on whether or not Jam does play the Gamekeeper, will kind of put them in a poor position here because Gamekeepers are really good on this map. But Wax Artist is a really good ban on this map. Jam's Wax Artist is pretty good last time I checked, as well as this being a really beneficial map for Wax. So we're gonna see Fire Investigator and Psychologist locked here again. I don't know what is with the teams not locking Mercenary. Am I schizophrenic? What's going on? Am I going insane? What's happening? Yeah, see, now we're going to see the Mercenary. We're going to see the Mercenary banned here, unfortunately. I'm going to stick by it. So the Mercenary is getting banned. We aren't going to see the Mercenary played on a big map like this, which is more beneficial in a position like this. All you need is a draw. You don't need super fast decoding, and you need a Rescuer that can cover a large amount of distance pretty quickly. I think Mercenary in this position should have been a priority pick here. Yeah, now Gravekeeper, another only Rescuer that you can realistically lock here and should lock here is FO. But he doesn't do a too good job at Weeping Cloud. Weeping Cloud here, I mean, they made good use of it last time, so I'll hold the Weeping Cloud hate. My hands are up. My bad. It won't happen. But I do like the Fire Investigator pick. We talked about it. You know, he is really good at transitioning and allowing that transition, especially on a map like this. Psychologist is really good, so you can tank early game. Patient and Psychologist duo is really good. Patient might be a tide bringer here, as well as Weeping Clown, and Weeping Clown can make a bunch of distance fast. The only issue is like, you know, Mercenary is such a stable rescuer. You don't really have a stable rescuer here. So then it does get a little sketchy, but you do have two characters that can make a ton of distance and Fire Investigator that can make a good amount of distance without risking too much. So we are going to see pretty solid bans from the side of Jam here, forcing them into a position where they don't really have a solid, consistent-ish rescuer. I will not be subbing because Lucifer is casting and bad at the game. So my competitive days are long past me. We're going to see a breaking wheel here. See, this is where the Gravekeeper ban is actually really smart. Had they picked Gravekeeper, it actually would have been like very poor positioning for Jam. And I don't think they're actually expecting the breaking wheel here, so they might not actually bring a flywheel. So not only is it bad for the fact that they don't have a Gravekeeper or a stable rescuer, but the fact that they don't have a Merc or a Grave or a Seer puts them in a position where if they get two spikes relatively early, they actually can't rescue at all. So they need to make sure that they get as close to this chair before taking the first two spikes as humanly possible, because this is going to be very, very good for Jam, specifically if they don't bring a flywheel into this round 3. We are going to see two flywheels actually being brought from the Psychologist. The Psychologist is bringing a Sui build, and Patient as well has flywheel. So this is relatively okay, but the only thing that I will say is that Weeping Clown can be chased by the breaking wheel, so this might be a little scary because the Weeping Clown's abilities aren't too good against the wheel, as well as they don't have flywheel. So they really need to rely on cutting in the open here and possibly, you know, dodging that first trap in order to get the rocket off and gain that distance. Then they need to start their kite. But I do think that Jam is against this comp. Jam is pretty he's in a pretty comfortable spot to bring wheel into this game here. Cutie Pie is crazy. Cutie Pie is crazy. Banned. Get this guy to the chat. No, I'm kidding. No, but sorry, wild work, guys. Anyways, sorry, my bad. I got that threw me for a loop. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But yeah, I would assume that Jam is gonna just chase this Weeping Clown, which is gonna be in a really good position. It is gonna allow him to chase the only Tide user in an area that isn't the most beneficial for him. I guess the two windows there are okay. But they are pretty short-walled windows, meaning Jam can mind game around them relatively easily. And you know they don't have flywheel to bring around, and the kit of Weeping Clown isn't the best. So again, hi, I'm Lucifer. I'm your sole caster for this GSL and CNC matchup. We are getting into the first half of round 3 here. GSL's Hunters versus CNCE Survivors. We're going to see Gem actually going for the Weeping Clown, missing him unfortunately. Should find him relatively soon here though. Covering all bases, should see him. Oh, just barely missed him. He might actually leave. He actually just misses the Weeping Clown completely. Amazing job for the Weeping Clown actually hiding and barely missing the Weeping Clown there, and being on the Psychologist. And this isn't exactly the character. Psychologist does get countered by Wheel. Excuse me. But unfortunately, a good trap there from Jam. But unfortunately, you know, they do have Flywheel and a Sui build, so they're going to get a lot of distance off of this, as well as now she's unchaseable essentially. You know, you can't break that with this wheel. So now you have to change targets. You know, do you go back to Dust here? I think you do. I think that's the right move. Finding Dust here, getting stuck unfortunately. Wheel is a little too big for playing on the slide. The age limit has been reached. We are going to see Dust being chased here. These dual windows again. They did a good job at hiding at the beginning of the match. An early spike rather should be hit here from this second presence. Well, the first presence rather spikes. Possibly hit here from Jam's. Jam's controls are relatively good with wheel as well. So we should see an early-ish spike, second spike. Oh, unfortunately getting stuck on the very edge of that wall. Oh, Weeping Clown getting a little too close and actually hitting him through the wall. Great job here. Jam really needs to hit this trap. I think that. Oh, unfortunately the wall actually provided enough of a time block that Jam is actually going to be forced back into wheel here. Lots of time being bought. 4 ciphers being worked on already. So it's a little unfortunate. The rotations were really well. Lots of cipher progress. So that's a free cipher progress. Amazing trap. This should be a down. And again, this does look a little bad for Jam. 2 ciphers are popped. 2 are already being worked on, and their last one does have progress. But again, none of them have tied, as well as they're all 2-hit downs. So that means 2 spikes and they will be downed, unfortunately. So if Jam can make this rescue, and he does already have full presence as well. So if Jam can make this rescue as sketchy or as poor as possible, missing the fire investigator unfortunately is going to allow them for a free rescue here. Amazing timing on the bomb. They need to get this Weeping Clown down as fast as possible. It should be a down here, just a snap, and then. Yeah, perfect. This and again, this is wheel starts to get a little dangerous. It's really difficult to rebound him without flywheel or without a kit that benefits you. As well as like now now he can comfortably. He knows where the fire investigator is, so it's going to be relatively easy to cut him off, and he's actually going to see the psychologist as well, almost getting a spike onto them. He needs to get the spike onto the psychologist because the full presence will push both fire investigator, and the fire investigator is going to be able to get this. Fire investigator is going to be able to get this. He does miss the full presence. And he does get the rocket as well, and we are going to see the patient coming in for the body block. Oh, he does get hit by the tram, but the patient is going to here for the body block. The trap isn't actually going to outlast it. Amazing timing. Jam should have waited to get out of that wheel prior to... Good blink! This does open the draw potential. Amazing blink. And, missing the body block. This does open the possibility of possibly, does he switch to peepers? I can't really see what that is. Peepers or does he go for a more teleport or abnormal? Or what does he go for here? Because now, after he can play the slugging game now that there are only 3 people left, Psychologist is going to be 2 spikes now. So this does open a possibility. They don't have a 6 cipher started. Missing the, I don't know if they should have flywheeled there yet. I mean, they should have if it would have hit, but I think it probably would have been a little better to possibly use it on the snap and force the basic hit. But unfortunately, not missing the flywheel on the full presence and not having it for the snap is a little unfortunate. Being able to pressure the cipher again, they don't have a 6 cipher started. Jam doesn't have to camp here. He can just continue to slug here and burn resources. He just needs to be careful about not getting drugged too far away from that last cipher. He does need to be able to make sure that he can maintain the pressure. Again, he was pulled away from the cipher. They are going to be able to prime it in time. Unfortunately, this is kind of looking like a draw. But again, they can possibly make something happen with slugging endgame. But again, super unfortunate. Jam allowed himself to get pulled away from that side of the map. We're gonna see 2 spikes. We're gonna see I think the psychologist actually doesn't have the flywheel up. They should just pop here while he's in wheel form. This is actually really bad. Yeah. Oh, she doesn't have. Yeah, they should have popped early. I think that's a big misstep. This might actually open up Jam for a win. Amazing job from Jam, recognizing the fact that she doesn't have borrowed time. Yes, he got pulled away from the cyphers. Yes, they popped, but I think a big misstep from the side of CNCE not making that pop early. Now he can go and pressure that other gate pretty freely here. And honestly, it's going to be relatively easy for him to slug this out for a 4K. We might see Jam possibly be able to push for a 4K here, depending on how this cat with Patient goes. And Patient missing the flywheel. Jam doesn't have the tension, but he does have 2 spikes on Patient with that missed flywheel. Missing the trap, unfortunately. But again, the fire investigator was not able to get on that gate. He was actually forced into 2-story by Jam here. A good mind game. Good mind game from Jam here, forcing the Patient into an area that's not really the best. This should be a hit for Jam. Yes, amazing hit from Jam. You can realistically slug here and get back in wheel, maybe chair, and I think... Oh, he has warp. He has warp, actually. He can chair here. He can chair here and shut the 1-man off. This is going to be a 4K for the side of GSL here. I honestly forgot that he swept traits to warp. So we're gonna see a warp and him immediately get back in the wheel. Unfortunately, I don't think he's gonna be able to make it in time. Oh, unfortunately. I definitely think he should have slugged there and it would have been a 4K. But again, a 3K is really solid. Now we need to make sure, in a situation like this, I believe the points are 10 to 11, I think, at this point. So GSL also needs to push for a 3-man on the side of 11 to 9. Oh, because they had 7, didn't they? Yes. Wait. That's 10. Should be 10 to 11. Oh, really? But did they have 6 or 11? Okay, okay, okay. Oh yeah, though it wasn't a draw. Yeah, yeah, you were correct. Yeah, my bad. So 9 to 11, yes. So GSL does actually need to push for a 3-man here in order to bring this to overtime, and it needs to be a 4-man to win outright. No, no, I know it was 6 to 2, but I'm meaning like I thought they had 7 total is what I'm meaning. Um, Not like yeah. I thought it was 7 total. Yeah. I thought GSL had 7 total, so it would have been 10 to 11. That's my bad. That's my bad. Hands are up. Scouts on her. My bad, pimp. Never, it will never happen again, mainly because I won't be in a situation again. But GSL is put in a situation where their survivors do need to push for a 3-man to bring it to overtime and a 4-man to win the place outright. But we need to also we need to talk about the fact that this is GSL's map pick rather. So Jam does open it up with a really solid 3K, and it almost was a 4K from Jam there. So this being GSL's map pick, you do have to understand that they most likely have the comfortability to possibly push for a 4K, if not a minimum a 3K. So it's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask, but GSL, again, this is GSL's map pick. So if there's a map that if there's a round that they can do it, they've shown that they have the communication with their ability to 3K round 1. Round 2 was they got put in a super honestly a heavily loss favored position with the early down, but the communication and the support from Zeus and the body block from Zeus, being able to bring that almost back to a draw position. They do have the communication and they do have the teamwork to possibly push for this 3-man, if not the 4K. But it is a lot to ask. The hunter can play characters like BQ and such like that, to heavy draw characters that are still good on Moonlit. So that raises the question, do you risk at this point with GSL, at this point you have to ban the draw characters. You have to push for a 3-man, you have to push for a 4-man. That with that being the with that being the case, does GSL focus their bans on the possible draw hunters that this hunter might be able to play? Because at this point, CNCE should understand the fact that they don't have to push for too much. They can actually play this super passively and still be able to win, due to the fact that they've given themselves such a large cushion. We are gonna see. Okay, yeah, we are gonna see. Yeah. I have it right. Yeah, 3K to round 4, 4K to win for GSL. Yep. Anything else is CNCEs. So, yeah, but again, like I was saying, it is unfortunately it is an unfortunate position for GSL to be asked of this for the 3rd round in a row. But that CNCE has done such a solid job from the survivor side, 2 rounds, and the round 2 from the hunter side at giving themselves this cushion for round 2. And not only that, but they got 1 out guaranteed, which put them in a comfortable position to just maintain the second half of round 2. So it's a little unfortunate that Jam did barely miss that 4th kill, but CNC did a really good job at staying out of Jam's way end game, getting in chase, and then after that, boom, getting immediately into a position to to get on that gate the moment Jim started chase across the map at 4 stop. And that's kind of what allowed them to get that 4K. I do think, I think the 4K potential does open up if Jam does just slug the patient, force the self heal out, warp, and then down the fire investigator. Maybe he chairs fire. I think at that point he could comfortably chair fire investigator and then go back to 4 stop and beat the patient before the gate gets open. But again, that's all hindsight stuff. It's super easy to speculate and be like, oh, he should have done this, blah blah blah. Due to the fact that we're seeing the game in a third person view and we can see all of the people. But we are going to see the global bans again. I'm going to restate these really quick for the side of GSL. The global bans are going to be Seer, Puppeteer, Psychologist, and Embalmer. Again, a really solid job from both survivor sides at maintaining the integrity of their meta picks. Super late coming into to round 3 here. But again, I just want to remind again people, be respectful to both teams. Both teams are giving us a pretty exciting. I'm not gonna lie, pretty exciting. Pretty exciting match to open up with here. So no, we should be respectful and we should thank both teams for giving us a good start to this today's matchups. I feel like I think there's quite a few matchups happening today. So I'm pretty excited to see the rest of them. I'm only casting for this one, I think. Maybe. But hold on, yeah. I think I'm only casting this one, so I'll listen to see you guys for this one matchup. But I think oh, never mind, guys. I'll see you guys back here. Oh, is that today? Oh, word is bond. All right, well, I'll see you guys. What time is that? Sounds good. Word is bond. All right, well, I'll see you guys for that matchup as well. Sounds good. You guys don't have to miss me for very long. I'm coming back today. But as you guys can see, I'm very organized. But this is a great start to the matchups today. We are going to see the bans starting at here. We are going to see the Acrobat and the Priestess ban from the side of CNCE's Hunter, as well as the Wax Artist and Hermit ban from the side of GSL. The Wax Artist ban, I think, is super smart because it's a better map for him, and they did struggle against it again in the what's the map called? Lakeside. They did struggle in the Lakeside match. So I think that this is a smart ban. Hermit, maybe not so much. You did prove that your rescuer can guide the Hermit. The Hermit wasn't looking as consistent as I think they're scared of. And not only that, but it's a big map, so it's not super beneficial for Hermit. It's not crazy beneficial, but it is relatively open, so maybe I understand it a little bit. But at the same time, you are in a position where you need to push for a win, and the Hunter only needs to draw. So it does get to a point to like, should you be focusing your bans on the more draw heavy hunters here? Because if he plays a BQ, it's going to be relatively difficult to push for a win. As long as he does good enough and hits like his first mirror and his first blink, it should be pretty draw locked. We're going to see Lawyer and Gravekeeper being the locks rather for the first 2 locks for the GSL, the side of GSL here. Again, no Mercenary being picked. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why we're not messing with Mercenary all of a sudden. But again, it might be Hunter dependent. But I don't. What's with this Mercenary hate going on? Also, we paused the deduction for 1,000 seconds, so I don't know what's going on. Let me scroll down and catch back up. We're going to see a prisoner ban being the yeah, we're going to see the prisoner being the ban here. So prisoner's going to be banned. It's not going to say anything is banned, but they've agreed that the prisoner is going to be banned as their third ban. So we're going to see the third lock coming from the side of GSL is going to be Novelist. I do think that's a good pick, especially on a map like this. I think Novelist is really, really solid, especially in his individual kiting as well as support. It's really easy to swap into pallets and get pallet stuns. It's really easy to just swap away and swap into positions where you can body block, especially end game. So the potential with him is super high. So I'm pretty excited to see how GSL actually utilizes him. Because they've had really good communication for characters that really aren't meant for support. So with somebody as good at supporting like Novelist, it does, raise the question on how well they're going to utilize him, and I'm kind of excited to see that. Coordinator is going to be the fourth and final lock. for the ban rather for the side of CNCE. A really totally understandable ban. It's a really open map coordinator. It could be used for some pretty game changing stuff. We're going to see the fourth and final lock from GSL being. Drum roll, please. No? Okay. No drum roll sound effects. Understandable. In a position like this, I think you want to go with another support character. You know, you do have to push for a 3-man. So, you know, maybe an antiquarian, a prospector. I think is okay on this. A painter as well. A painter. We saw the painter get utilized really well by I think CNCE, but I could be wrong. No, was that CNCE? Yeah, that was CNCE, the AND match. Really solid painter support coming from the side of CNCE. You know, GSL might have that same page in their book as well, locking the painter here. Pretty excited to see. You know, they do have a pretty two characters that are really solid, really solid support. Really solid duo of support characters there, as well as you know Gravekeeper. They've proved that they can do solid rescues and solid timed rescues with the Gravekeeper, so they don't really need to push for somebody that can cover distance as much. And the Lawyer is really good at staying out of the way as well as decoding. Not only that, but you know, if he is in a position where he needs to rescue, he can just rescue. He doesn't have to worry about the terror shock or anything like that. Really solid support, really solid character from Lawyer here, as well as Lawyer's actually going to be able to lead the early game rotations as well, due to his ability to see the hunter and where they're going. So I think this comp is pretty strong for what they need to do. And again, just a reminder for anybody that's kind of new here or has just popped in the stream, GSL does need a 3K at minimum to continue to Route 4. They need a 4K to win the match outright. We're going to see CNCE respond back with a disciple of their own. So again, we're seeing a little bit of a mirror. You know, we are seeing that painter as CNC played last round. We are seeing the Ann as GSL played last round. So Ann is really good on maps like that are bigger like this for draws and possibly wins because she's really good at cutting off and making rescues. I mean, impossible. But that Gravekeeper does counter the Ann. So solid again. You know, Gravekeeper. You know, Gravekeeper going to be pretty important here. And not getting chased first, and Pearl needs to be on top of their stuff with the rescues here. What's going on, guys? Help! See, this is you guys want me to cast. You guys want me to sound out professional, but then I have stuff like this going on. They're playing eeny meeny miny mo with their spawns right now. Okay, all right. Well, hold on. Just wait. 1 second left. There it is. Big prank. Got him. Okay, anyways. The regular spawns happening. Traditional spawns. We are going to see the Gravekeeper, the Rescuer, being on that working carousel bridge. We're going to see the Lawyer being in 2-story, Painter 4th, as well as Orpheus being 1st. They are going to, and Anna takes a normal spawn here. This is actually going to block Zeus's Cypher off, and they're going to be forced to either go to the second stop Cypher or Godkite, depending on where what Cypher spawns where. As well as I think Painter's a pretty easy, not easy chase, but a pretty doable chase for the Ann here. Whether or not they decide to chase the Painter or the Lawyer is up for debate, but I think Painter is weak enough that you can chase him, because you don't really want to chase 2-story and Godkite, especially not a Lawyer. You know, he does have the Veteran's Bonus, so even after he gets frozen, he's going to get a bunch of distance. And 2-story is really difficult to chase in unless they have Confined. So that's the only thing that might change things. Already, again, just a reminder, I'm Lucifer, your commentator. I'm going to be commentating for this final round, possibly round 3, second half of CNCE versus GSL here. We're going to see CNCE's Hunter pushing this 4-stop, which is going to be the Painter here initiating the chase. Painter is going to kind of hang back up here. We're going to see Cats on cooldown for another 4 seconds, unfortunately. Sorry, taking a drink. We are going to see the Painter being catted here, but again, you know, one dash is going to be dashed and scared. Good, solid job from the painter so far, just maintaining distance. So the yes, he gets catted. Yes, he closes a little bit of distance, but he's not in risk of getting frozen and taking an early hit. He is going to start painting here. I think this is going to be enough time to make the pallets. Should be this should be a hit here. Swung a little early, unfortunately. I think he actually gets this painting off and he makes this pallet. Needs to hug this corner pretty tight. He is going to make the painting. Gets the painting off, gets the pallet as well. I think he's going to drop this painting the moment the cats are dropped, but he isn't. He's actually going to be forced to. Oh, he almost dodged that and almost swung, but amazing job from the painter putting it in a position where he kind of had to take it, dodging the cats, not having the presence to adjust it. Should be almost a little scary there. I thought he was going to come into the volt, but good flywheel there coming from the side of this painter. Hit, swung through the pallet, hit. This is a long kite time, though, for the side of GSL. 3 cybers are all above 50 at this point, and the painter has the second painting, so he is going to be able to guarantee the fact that he's going to be able to kite these cats out. And I don't think he actually has the distance to... he's going to have to scare because he doesn't have the distance to make the cats. He doesn't have a second jump. Oh... I think that might have been a little preemptive, but he is, yeah, exactly, a little preemptive. He's going to be able to get warp out here. Amazing job from the side of the painter here. I think that last painting was a little early, but still, nonetheless, that painting allowed him to get dodge that last cat as well as get that painting out. Amazing job from the side of from the GSL survivors. We are going to see 2 cybers popped. The rescuer cyber is at 70%. Their last 2 cybers are going to be started relatively soon here. They are taking the coaster, I think, to 3rd stop, if not 4th, depending on if 3rd stop was hit. It is going to 4th, so we are going to see possibly the coaster coming into play here for the side of GSL. But there is going to be a cooldown. I think it's like 40 seconds, 30 seconds. It is going to be a double hit, unfortunately, here. So they do need to make sure that they at this point with the Gravekeeper being hit here, they do need to guarantee the fact that he gets on this tram. If he gets on this tram, the rebound potential is going to be high enough. Unfortunately, he is going to eat a cat here. He does have 2 dashes up as well, so this should be a freeze, maybe. Oh, it's gonna be a down. Yeah, this is rough. You know, you do save the save on the painter was early, earlier for the character that's being played, as well as the double down from the Gravekeeper here being a little awkward. Again, this is looking like a possible 3-man potential here, depending on how fast they can get this Gravekeeper up and how smooth this next rescue goes off. But again, and when you're in the position of GSL, it draw isn't good enough. You need the 3-man, you need the 4-man. They need to make this work. And again, Lawyer's being cut off here. It's going to be an early hit. A hit super far away from the chair. The cats, the stone, what is it? Pause deduction. The gravestone, gravestone, the thing you adjust with the cats is actually able to be adjusted. So we are going to see, unfortunately, we are going to see, we're going to see excuse me, I lost my train of thought with the pause. We're going to see the cross adjusted. So this should shut the chase down, unfortunately. Well, the save down, excuse me. So this is going to make, I think the painter should die on chair here, unfortunately. Unfortunately, there's nothing being said in the chats on what the pause is about, so I'll just continue yapping like the pause isn't there. But unfortunately, the lawyer took a hit so far away because they had to pick the Gravekeeper up that they're actually getting cut off. Took an early hit, and then I think that's going to result in the fact that they aren't going to be able to get this rescue off, unfortunately. So. This should result in at least a draw. We're going to see the match continuing here. Again, this is... I don't think the lawyer's going to be able to make this in time before the end is going to cut them off. Yeah. So this is going to result in... oh, they might be coming in for a double rescue here. Possibly looking to... I think he's just going to look to farm here. That's all he really needs. Oh, amazing farm there. Amazing farm coming from the side of Ann, and they are going to push for more. The painter is dead on chair. You don't really need to chair them too quick. We are going to see the lawyer going down here. So not only they might get the painter up depending on how quick this heal is and whether or not he has doctor or not. Not looking like a draw here, unfortunately. Not looking like they get this heal off, unfortunately, is rather what I meant. So it is going to look like 3 people alive with 3 cyphers still remaining, and only two of them really have progress. Lawyer's already down. He's going to be in chair. The only one that can really, the only one that can realistically rescue, is going to be the novelist here. We're seeing them double decode this cipher down, trying to pop it. I think just trying to force pop it before, this is the cipher that's worked on that's closest. They're going to put cats on it, trying to stop it from popping, but unfortunately, the double decoding does allow that cipher to pop. And now that he's actually catted the Gravekeeper, is only going to be one cat to pressure the. Oh, it does freeze. I think this is going to be a stuff. Amazing flywheel coming from the side of Zeus, and he gets the rescue off, but it's going to be a farm. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Amazing flywheel coming from the side of Zeus, as well as, the flywheel into the instant rescue and actually being able to get that rescue off before the second swing happens was amazing. But unfortunately, they do have still basically a full cipher to decode, as well as that being a farm. It's looking like a 3-man here again. They need, the side of GSL needs all 3 of these survivors out, so they need to get this. They need to make this rescue work here. Getting the possible body block off. Lawyer does make this pallet. Zeus is splitting off. He doesn't want to eat the hit if he doesn't have to. Lawyer's probably not going to be able to dodge this. He does need to make that window for the speed boost. I think there's a second dash up, so unfortunately he's going to be dead here. Yeah, no opportunity for Novelist to really body block, as well as no opportunity for him to page. So it does look like this is going to be the final kill that CNC needs to secure their win. In this matchup versus GSL here. Amazing job from the amazing beating kite from the painter. Unfortunately does the rescues are the rescue, the Anne did a really good job at handling the rescues, as well as the support that was coming in on the body blocks. They played really well around the GSL support. Solid adjustments from the CNC Hunter, allowing them to kind of come back from that initial long kite from the painter. It is going to look like a down on the side of the CNC Hunter, and they do not know exactly where Pearl is, so they are going to slug. It looks like they're going to slug, possibly chair. They don't really need to slug this out for the 4K, again, because they already have their win potential secured. I think they're going to chair. They're going to bring them into the middle of the map and then drop them, is what I presume is going to happen. Just to make sure that, he knows relatively where they are. Maybe let them struggle until he gets tinnitus. I'm not really sure. But I do know that a lot of hunters, especially overseas hunters, don't really want this should tell them where the hunter, the survivor is. Zeus was running pretty far away. Is dragging him kind of towards first. Maybe thanks to the first. He is getting the crows, unfortunately, on Pearl, and having warp available. Unfortunately, he closed the warp. Does he make this tram in time? I don't think he does. Oh, he does. That's so unfortunate. He does make the tram in time, which means that he turns the stop off as well. The stop isn't really too big, but I think he is going to make it back in time to no? Okay, he's picking Pearl up and is bringing Pearl into the middle of the map now. They're swapping places, taking turns. I think at this point, you know where Dungeon is. You just leave Pearl slugged. You chase the Novelist and re-down him. And at that point, you have... Zeus doesn't have the self-heal, as well as Pearl. Pearl also not having the self-heal after she would pick herself up, letting her struggle. She does have Shovel here. They have struggle here. Apologies. They have Shovel here, so they are going to be able to eat this cat and continue cutting, possibly allowing Zeus time to make it back to that tram. But again, they do have something to take into account. The tram is at first, but they are going to get on that tram. I actually don't think this tram makes it in time. I think Anna's going to get on the tram with him. Oh, Pearl got RKO'd off of the tram. It was all a joke now. So again, CNC has reached its win potential with the 2 kills. But it's good to get the practice in, pushing for more here. GSL trying to pull that tram play off. Unfortunately, Pearl not being able to the tram rather not being able to make it there before the Ann does and leave. So he is going to see the trail of Zeus. And again, neither character, I believe, has the self-heal. Oh, Pearl does, rather. I'm sorry. She's struggle free. Pearl does have self-heal. We should see it popped shortly after Zeus goes down here. Second dash not available. So Zeus is going to be able to make these pallets over here. That pallet is gone, but this other pallet here is still up. So you might see a little bit longer of a kite Still, the abilities are still blocked from the side of for Zeus. He is going to see. Oh, we are going to see a swap. Still not available. It's getting taken away again, unfortunately for Zeus here. Pearl's still holding that Sylveal. It is primed at 99. We are going to see Zeus go down here. Possibly, maybe as this book comes up, we're going to see Pearl should possibly pick herself up here. Yeah, Pearl's going to pick themselves up here again, rather. I'm sorry. We're going to see a warp back onto that side of the map, though. Oh, just barely misses it, unfortunately. The hunter does roughly know where Pearl is, but Pearl's doing a really good rotation, running away and then back towards the edge of the map. Shouldn't give Tinnitus here to the end, and the end does think they go first stop rather, but Pearl is actually sitting up top in 2-star here. Good back and forth coming from GSL, trying to get one person out here, but CNC's Hunter is doing a really good job at ending these chases relatively quickly. That they're able to maintain not a solid view, quote unquote, but a good understanding at the general location of these GSL survivors. We're going to see Pearl, I think, actually vaulted that a little early. No, it's still up there. We are going to see that they do see them. And this, after Pearl gets down here, this is going to be not only the win for CNCE, because again, they got their 2 kills that they needed, but as well as a win for this round. Because neither one of these survivors left. Actually, okay. Neither one of these survivors actually have their self-heal, so this is going to be the 4K for the side of CNCE. Already, the back and forth game is unfortunately coming to a close, resulting in a 4K for the side of CNCE, which means that CNCE is your winner of this matchup. They were the winner. Again, the win potential for this was GSL needing a 3-man to send it into round 4, and a GSL needing a 4-man to send it into to win outright. Unfortunately, the CNC, well, fortunately, unfortunately, depending on who you're cheering for, the CNCE survivor was not only able to secure their 2 kills, but more as well, resulting in a 4K this round 3. It is going to be CNCE beating GSL 16-9. Really solid. I'm not gonna lie, really exciting match coming from both these teams. We saw the initial. We saw the initial strength of both survivor teams, both return, matching the pace for pace and both getting 3K and 3K. And the survivor side, the hunter side, really being a lot of that pressure being put on the hunters to step up and kind of make up for what they were lacking in the round 2. And unfortunately, we did see the Anne warp incident that will be talked about for I think the rest of this tournament. Unfortunately, shout out Sage. I love you, but not for that one. That was a little awkward, buddy. But outside of that, that was a little unfortunate. But a really dominant showing from the rotations that match to the Painter support and Big Boat, as well as GSL. With the early kite coming from that, for the early down coming from that prisoner, Zeus. Shout out Zeus IDV, one of my favorite IDV YouTubers. I watch all of his Facebook gaming live streams. He actually does a really amazing job at body blocking a good amount of that wax for that prisoner, and not only body blocking the wax for the prisoner, but also getting the body block off the freeze with that shovel. And then coming in around 3, Jam doing a really solid job at securing a really dominant 3K. And honestly, possibly could have been a 4K, if he gets the down, a second earlier. But a really dominant showing from Jam there, proving that he can play both sides of the ball, being a previous survivor man and coming out and being able to dominate the hunter side like that. And then, it's just a tall glass of water to kind of drink for the GSL survivors, needing a 3K at minimum for that second half of round 3. I do think this is definitely the most exciting matchup that I've casted. Great job, and GG's to both teams. Congratulations to CNCE on their win today. Make sure that in the chat, you guys, give your GG's to both teams. Congratulate CNCE. Give your nice tries to GSL. I think that is it for me, unfortunately and fortunately for you guys. So there is another matchup going on as well. There's another matchup going on for V's, so make sure you check the announcements in that. Wish those teams good luck and go and cheer them on. Thank you for welcoming me, and thank you, Lolzy, for streaming this matchup, and thank you for